What's up, Capoeira Nation? Welcome back to the Capoeira Experience podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for being part of the community. Stay active and protect your capoeira and protect your community and keep supporting your teachers and the community. And like I always say it on the podcast, everybody's so welcome to come here and share their experience, even if it's one day in capoeira or 100 years in capoeira. I just want to learn. I'm pretty sure out there somebody's going to have questions. They probably be able to learn from you. And because of that, I like sharing any kind of experience, including something that comes out from capoeira and then something that your skills can apply to capoeira. And I have so if a lot of you probably know already about me, I'm already from Venezuela, and we are very mixed in Venezuela. We have a bunch of mixtures, and since I was a little kid, I always was attracted to any African culture, and I don't know if you know, but I'm in Venezuela related to Brazil, very similar. In Venezuela, I'm a Pai Santo, so it's very similar to Brazil. So when I got in touch with my next guest, we pretty much believe on the same stuff, and I really like how she applies all those skills to capoeira and how she puts all this energy into capoeira. But let me introduce you to Sabonete. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can't complain. I'm having a great day today.
Nice. All the way from Texas.
All the way from San Antonio, Texas.
Nice. That's awesome. It's pretty warm there almost all year, right? It gets chill in the winter.
It is. It's pretty warm all year round. We had a few exceptions this year, with the great freeze that we had
Oh,
here for
that's
a week. And
right.
it was pretty scary there for a minute. We
Yeah,
didn't know what was going to happen with the electricity going back and forth, and
that's true. I forgot
certain
about
people
that.
didn't have water and stuff. But
Oh,
it's just amazing that Texas is recovering. We have a great mixture of people. It's
nice,
very family oriented here, very
nice.
community based here. And, even in taking my walks in nature and, just looking around, I can just see just the beauty. Even nature is,
Yeah.
renewing itself. You can see even with the trees and the flowers, if you thought they were dead, they're coming back.
Oh, so
you know,
nice.
Even on the trees, the ends of them where you can see where they're dark and now the leaves are really light green. And you can see that even in nature, it's starting to renew itself. And it's one of the things I think is so beautiful,
Nice.
about nature that inspires me, in my wood crafting and, being able to blend that and appreciate, crafting, in
Yeah.
capoeira.
Yeah. Me too. I like anything, and sometimes we just see like capoeira as a body movement, but it's a type of crafting,
Yeah.
and because you put me, a lot of pieces together to create something that is going to be very unique. Like
Yeah.
every single game in the capoeira hobby is going to be unique, even if you're
Yeah.
doing 100 years, it's going to be unique.
Very
And
much.
I like that you mentioned the good crafting, because that's why I want you to be on the podcast to talk a little bit about your skills in wood crafting and how you apply this to capoeira. But before we step into this, what is your social media so people can follow you and find the work that you do?
Okay. So if you want to follow me in my my woodcrafting, you can find me at the Homemakers Crafts 15 on
Nice,
Instagram. If you want to follow my personal account, it's just at Miss Tiffany 38.
nice.
And I do a little bit of everything. The 15 is for the year I retired from the U.S. Army.
Oh,
And
cool.
from that point, I've been a homemaker. So I do a little bit of everything along with
Nice.
working. So that's why it's the homemakers instead
Yeah,
of just on the TFS like it was.
that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And there, go follow there. I mean, it's a lot of cool stuff on that page, including beating balls, right? You make beating balls too,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool. And what kind of wood crafting do you think your favorite stuff to do?
Man, that's a hard one. Of course, being a percussionist, and having appreciation for spirituality as well.
Yes.
everything, I've done everything from, agbes, shakeres, birimbaos, making cabasas, making baquetas. I make my own alfayas because I also am part of Grupo Latera
Okay.
in Austin, Texas. Our instructor, we do a lot of maracatu, a lot of
Nice.
Brazilian percussion. So he's from Olinda. So, shouts out to Bruno
Yes.
from, Olinda, Pernambuco.
Nice.
And then, of course, being a capoeirista, all these years, working with different pieces and designing my own for different things. So I've made stands for, my panderos, things from bamboo. I was awarded a home from being a disabled vet about 3 years ago.
Okay.
And I only came here with the furniture from my apartment.
Oh, crazy.
And it was empty. And
Yeah.
my son and I actually have built everything in this house ourselves.
Wow, that's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah, woodworking has been a big part of me. So it's hard to say which part is my favorite. But I definitely will say, definitely, the percussion and capoeira designs are my favorite because I not only, make them for myself and my son, who's also a capoeirista as well. But it's something that I get to share with the community and honor, other craftsmen who have inspired me, over the years and watching them and those I've met in, Brazil. And it's my way of giving back to the community of capoeira. And that's how I express myself. My capoeira is in my woodworking, if that makes sense,
Yeah, 100%.
So I've, studied and researched a lot of, traditional methods of how to do a lot of different things and tried to figure out not how to replace it because we always honor, the tradition. We always build upon that. We don't take away from that.
100%. Yeah.
And, I feel like that even in my wood crafting, I'll never say that, a method is too old or that, something is, you shouldn't do it that way. I like to express myself in a different way from honoring how I learned it.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of, great gratitude from being able to make things. And then if I present it as a gift to someone, or it ends up being something that someone wants to commission me for, and just seeing their face light up, knowing that I spent my time for them, knowing that this is from me to you, from my heart, blessed, Deus, orixás também. Definitely it's a big thing for me. I'm really big about honoring capoeira and giving back to the community by wood crafting. I have a lot of difficulties with, I physically have not been able to play in a holder for about 2.5 years.
Oh man.
Because I am a disabled vet. And I have a lot of physical issues with, my back and, with migraines and a lot of other issues I've had to deal with. And I was in and out of the holder for years. And, I've been an athlete my whole life. So, in capoeira, you want to be in that holder and experience, the energy and, and be with the people. And that just broke me down because when I couldn't play, I didn't know what else to do. I started having, it was weird. I was really at a low point in my life. And I didn't know what else to do because all I knew was, play the music, play in the roda. And when I couldn't play anymore, and I was really starting to become more and more challenging because of the injuries, I started having these dreams that there is this woman that used to come out of the ocean and she would say, "Come to Bahia." And her face was veiled and it was covered. And she was being light blue. I found out later on during one of my readings, of course, it was Yemenja.
Yeah.
Actually, I was
I got goosebumps.
I was like, I mean, you hear about it, you sing about it. It's one thing before you go to sing about, Brazil and, to talk about things. But, it's like, wait, I got to go across the water and I'm going. Like maybe one day, not to mention, I'm taking my child with me as well. And I finally went and, you always hear that old saying that sometimes you go somewhere else to understand yourself at home.
Yeah,
And
100%. Yeah.
visiting Bahia was just like that. I mean, looking at
Wow.
all these amazing and beautiful people who look just like me and,
Yeah.
helped me to understand and be prideful about being a person of African descent and,
Yeah.
being strong and, in this culture and heritage. And I saw, of course, the capoeira and the music filling the streets and the alegria of the
And the
people.
cult, yeah,
Yes,
it's very welcoming, right?
it is. It's
Yeah.
infectious. And what I went beyond that to see, especially spending a lot of time in Pelourinho,
Nice.
I had a lot of chance I started paying attention to the community that surrounded Capoeira. And I saw the wood artisans and the craftsmen, and that really intrigued me. And around about that same time, after, retiring from the military, trying to figure out kind of what do I do
What to do?
next,
Yeah.
I was introduced to woodcrafting here with a nonprofit organization called Operation Comfort.
Okay.
And it was like a ladies' night out about 4.5 years ago. And we built a box. And I still have that box.
Nice.
And after they asked, who wanted to continue to come out, I was the last female standing. And so
Crazy.
I've been going for about 4.5 years. So being a capoeirista who's a woodcrafter, and I go down, to Bahia and I start paying attention, of course, things made of wood and things made of, natural medium started standing out to me.
Yeah.
And I thought about it. I was like, I don't really know too many female crafters, but even more so, I wanted to still find a way to contribute to my community in a unique way. Like capoeira would not leave me alone. It's like, oh no, you're not walking away. There's something
100%.
for you to do. So my son and I started attending immersion programs there. So along with studying Portuguese and studying, gastronomy, I started staying there for, a month, 2 months at a time. And I was gone every 6 months going to
so cool.
Brazil. And my son was loving it.
I bet.
And, I met and started talking to people like, Mestre Luahasta and, and Mestre Nanel. And in the conversations, of course, they would ask me about capoeira. They would physically ask me how I was doing because, a lot of people know about the injuries and stuff I've had and how I've struggled, in the roda and, trying to train and, only to sometimes not be able to walk when I come home.
Yeah.
But woodworking helped me to find another calling and another part of capoeira that I could be part of.
Yeah.
And I started talking to them about, woodworking and everything. And, they would talk to me about, little things like, there's still something that you have to offer to this community, something that you can still be. It's your expression, honor the arts, honor what you see. And then I started studying, Mr. Pastinha, who was really into benches, and he was an artist in himself. He was a painter. He did a lot of woodworking. So a lot of, mestres and other students are actually also craftsmen. And that's how I started getting into it and asking a lot of questions. And when I started making baquetas, I actually had the honor of actually giving one to Mestre Nanel as a gift one Christmas, Nice. And it was amazing. Kind of looked it over. It was like,
it's so nice.
So, to hear something like that from a legend like that, it just really touched my heart, and there'll be times I would go visit him, at the Fundação, and he would have his little wooden stool and his hammer, and he's, hammering away at making bidding bows, or whether it was, stools and chairs for the studio. And when I kept seeing that inspired me to be a part of that. And that's what I wanted to bring to capoeira. And so that is what my capoeira is crafting.
Yeah. And I keep saying to everybody, when sometimes there's people, and including myself, a really long time ago, we are like, oh, I'm just doing, I don't feel like doing capoeira because my knee hurt. Or my shoulder hurt, or I got a headache, or something like that. It's like, well, just come to capoeira and do some music, and capoeira goes beyond just the movements, and it goes beyond just like doing stuff in the roda. Even just clapping, you add something to the roda,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it just, I understood what I needed to go, to back before. And after that, that's what those trips became. It was more than just capoeira for me, but, also, celebrating and understanding the community and how that contributed, to the community and how I could grow and hopefully inspire others when I came.
Yeah.
So when I came back, I used to have a studio with, the group that I'm in now. It's Capoeira Luanda in San Antonio. So I'm in the same group as Autoera.
Yeah.
Great, awesome, person himself. He's learning a lot himself, and he's doing amazing with, his practice. But my studio used to be right behind Luanda before I moved it to my garage at my home. And, every day I would go woodwork while they were at the studio. And, one of the things that taught me so much was just the fact that if you're going to do something for people, you need to know how the people will feel about it. So first thing I started making was benches, because I wanted to honor Mestre Pastinha in that, and, the fact that he did that a lot and he had so many. And I wanted to do that. So my goal is actually, by the time I turn 50, I turn 39 next week. So
nice.
By the time I turn 50, I want to have made 50 capoeira benches, to donate, to go in, studios all across the country,
nice.
to honor that legacy. And so far, I think I'm at 10. So I still got 40 left. So
nice.
If you want a bench, get in touch with me.
Nice. There you go.
and baquetas, because there are so many amazing berimbau craftsmen out there, and we have a lot of them even in Capoeira Luanda. Even, Mestre Esquilo is an amazing craftsman himself, among a million other things that he does. And I'll never forget, I would always get, these birimbaus. And the one thing that I always try to figure out, I was like, man, I wish, I had a different baqueta. And I was like,
what if I make my own baqueta?
My own baqueta, just that part. And I started working on those. And, one of the things I love about, Mestre Esquilo, he's such to me, just such a giant, when it comes to, like, you ever think, Capoeira Luanda, or, I couldn't even walk around, Salvador too much without someone knowing who he was, but such a humble and such an approachable person.
Super nice. Yeah.
And just a really awesome person. Made sure my son and I were great the first time we went on our first trip, and it was just amazing. But I remember the first time I made some, and I made them by hand, and, they were different from the way I make them now. And I asked for his opinion. I'm very big on, I want, this is for the people. So I want to know what the people think.
Yeah.
On the floor with me. I think I had made, like, I don't know, 30 or 40, baquetas. I didn't know anything about size or fulcrum or anything like that. And I just had a lot of pretty wood. That's all I knew.
And it's straight stick.
And he sat down on the floor with me. And I think maybe like 10% of my baquetas made the cut. No. Okay, this will pass. And, but I learned something from that. And, and I was like, if I want to do something for the people, and I want this to be something that I want to contribute, I have to be open. I have to be humble, and I have to listen.
Yeah, for sure.
In the beginnings, that's what I would do. So, and I still do that. Anytime I started off making those, and, I started listening to a lot of the high chords there. I mean, the leadership, at Luanda is just so amazing about facilitating us to find ourselves. And that's one of the great things that I really, really enjoy about, being in my capoeira group. And, sometimes I would hand them out, because I knew they've been playing for, I don't know, not any of them that have been playing under 15 years.
Wow, that's so cool.
So I just gave them all baquetas and was like, will you play with these? And what I would do is just kind of stand back and watch. And I could see I would watch which ones would they pick up and which ones did they not pick up.
Oh, nice. So you can see, like, so you start taking tips. Yeah. Yes. Nice.
And I would see, like, how they would pick it up. You always, no, or I wish this was long. And I'm listening in the background, not ever saying a word. And that is what made me better. It's my leadership and just listening. Then I started handing them out as gifts, as birthday gifts. And I mean, it was probably a good year and a half before I actually started selling baquetas myself.
That's so cool.
And, Instructor Guerrero, I think you've had him on before
Yeah.
as well, Capoeira, Minnesota. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
my little brother. I love him.
Nice. Yeah, I love that guy. Yeah.
He gave me my first opportunity to actually sell my baquetas at his batizado.
Oh,
And
nice.
I think I made about 60. I don't remember. It was a lot of them. They were gone in like less than
What?
45 minutes.
Wow, that's so cool.
But it took a lot of hard work, a
Yeah.
lot of input, a lot of everything. There's another, someone very specific, and actually when we get into Biddenbow, who got me was, he's very quiet. You don't hear a lot about him, but Graduado Coquero is amazing when it comes to drumming, whether it's with his hands, whether it's, onomatopoeia, whether it's, Biddenbow, just amazing with drumming. And he would come in and, okay, this is what you're gonna do. He's like, what you working on? And he'll listen, like, okay, try this. And just really, really got me to understand, the fulcrum, how to hold the baqueta, like what you want to focus on, weight.
Yeah, the weight matters a lot too.
Yeah, researching woods, researching length. I mean, just a lot of in-depth. So, I mean, he really, really, really helped me a lot, really started transitioning me from just baquetas to researching wood for making the Biddenbow. And, Instructor Montaña is just, like I said, is just an amazing facilitator of, his students finding themselves and, being who you're going to be and really rounding out that village, that you can be a part of and, finding yourself. And he's been really supportive. I'm kind of the capoeirista. Oh, she's always over there doing something. And he's like, yeah, that's her,
Nice.
So it's just really awesome. And, the leadership is just really great.
Yes. Starting from the top, I love Mr. Yelong. Mr. Yelong is one of my favorites.
Mr. Yelong is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Super humble, super humble.
Yes. First set of benches that I made was at the Batizado for Luanda, and it was 3 of them because of the instruments that we play. And I remember he walked up to me and, I was nervous because I came from another group before I came up to Luanda, but he was just, so Sabonete. He's like, so tell me what you made. And I'm sitting going, my hands are sweating and stuff.
So there's,
it's Mr. Yelong, he's, Bovo, to the kids and everything.
Yes. Oh man. When I met him in Vegas and I know how big was his name and his popularity in the capoeira community. When I met him in LA, and then the following week I went with my wife to an event in Vegas, and I was just talking to him in the kitchen. I was like, wow, what is this? I'm talking to big ass name here. It is like, man, what is this? And he was so nice and so sweet, so nice and just humble.
Very much so. And, same thing, always approachable. And I just amazed
super approachable.
That before I came to the group, when I used to go to the Butchies, I was like, my son and I followed Luanda everywhere. And he always remembered my name. And, he's the one who gave my son the name he has now, which is Ganga Zumba. And it just amazed me how just, someone who knows so many people and has such a large presence in the community remembers those little things about you. And that's
100%.
It's the same way.
Yeah.
And I really, really appreciated him for that. And, that first time and he saw them all and I made one specifically for him and it has his name on it and everything. So he'll, tell my son in a minute, go get his bench, so he can sit on it. And that just, makes me all teary eyed and just touching because I'm like, I'm arriving, I'm finally being able to do that, for my own method, be like, where's my chair? And it's something that I was able to put together and
your energy is there.
Yeah. And I'm like, people are sitting on these and, history is being made, people are sitting on these, the whole that's happening and they're right there. So it makes me feel just as involved as if I were playing in the whole that.
100%.
Woodworking for me it makes a huge difference with me. It's, very therapeutic. I was at a really dark point where I felt like I couldn't do anything. I actually had issues with like memory loss from PTSD from being deployed and stuff, but woodworking and designing, it helps me to, maintain that memory, to continue to design, and it keeps me, happy because
Yeah.
doing something I enjoy and I'm able to contribute something that someone else can use and,
Yeah.
my expression. So it means a lot to me. It really does.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
see the support from the community the way that it has been, I can't ask for anything
That's
else.
so cool. That's so cool. And that's the other thing too. Like why I like to bring a lot of people to a podcast, because I want to highlight those positive enforcements in the community. It's so much negativity out there. Like
Yeah,
we need to focus on the solution, on the good
yeah,
stuff. And
definitely.
of course, not saying that we gotta ignore what is happening, but it's a different mindset when you shift everything. Okay, how we fix it, how
Yeah,
we move on, and
yeah.
that's I think it's really really cool to see how motivated you are, because the support that you get from the community,
Very much
that
so.
makes me happy.
Everybody's very encouraging, and I even love the questions. I welcome, even if someone says, hey, can you fix this or try this, that makes me want to be better.
Yeah,
you know
for sure. Yeah.
want to be better. And I had to learn not to really keep up with what the next person was doing and how they did something, because then it's not my expression. It's, it becomes
Yes.
a competition, and that's not what this is about.
Yeah.
Capoeira is a community art. It's about
Yeah.
a village. I even refer to, whenever I go to the studio for Capoeira Luana, I refer to it to the house. I'm going to the house,
Nice. Oh,
because
nice.
that's how we interact,
Yeah.
when we're there with different things. But this, capoeira, this that you do. I mean, when you go to Brazil, you go to different batizados. It's not just capoeira all the time. You're at
Yes.
someone's house, you're eating, someone will work
Yes.
out some music, and
Yes. Take
there's
you
a
out to
big,
the beach or whatever.
yeah, you go
Yeah.
to the beach, you go to nice
Yeah.
restaurants, or just, it's just amazing. I
Man,
love how
yes.
it just comes together, and I'm just trying to fit in where I
Yeah.
can by bringing that element, of wood crafting and, crafting different things. And I learned just as much. I mean, I've run into, different wood crafters, and, I constantly ask a lot of questions, and, I really humble myself to learning more. And it really does challenge me being a wood crafter who does, I do work with equipment, and I do work with different things, how to kind of simplify sometimes, even
Yeah,
how,
for sure.
do the process so I can pass that on to someone else.
Yeah.
Um, but
And
I
and the speed too is
Mhm.
speed up the work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And I mean, I can't deny who I am. I am a wood crafter, So of
100%
course,
yes.
I have a shop full of equipment, but
Nice. So cool.
the same
Nice.
moment that I can use a planer, to smooth out a baqueta, or, I may run it through a table saw, I can turn around and use a hacksaw and use a
That's so
chisel.
nice.
You
That's
know,
so nice.
it's about I was always taught the right tool for the right job in that moment,
Yeah.
whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So if it's a power tool or a shard of glass or a razor or whatever, a piece of tape,
Yeah.
whatever that may be, if it
Yeah.
is made with good intent, because I do believe in transfer of energy while you're working on something. Because one of the
Yes.
things I do like sage, and I do appeal to the egg wounds and everything. I come from a family of crafters and masons and stuff as
Oh,
well.
cool.
So I channel that ancestral
Yeah.
energy, everything, and ask for acceptance, and I burn sage and stuff over things that I make before I give
Yes.
them to people,
Nice.
because that's a big thing. I mean, wood, bamboo, gourds, these are living organisms,
100%. Yeah.
they're
They
still,
come from nature.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
parts of nature, and so are we. And when we're working with these different mediums and elements, we're exchanging still.
Yes.
We're
Yes.
exchanging still. You can, work on something, and if it's always in my mind that, oh, I can get this much for this if I go ahead and cut this up, but I'm not thinking about, man, this is how I really want to look, then, I just have a feeling you're gonna lock that into that, and something just might not turn out right.
Yeah. Yeah.
there are some days I'll go in my shop and, I'll ask him like, okay, can I work in my shop today? And, sometimes and she might be like, nope.
Yeah, yeah,
Sometimes
yeah.
I'll go in and, just all kinds of metal stuff is coming. I'm like, oh, okay, what is going on like in the day? There's some time, and it may be because maybe I got angry about something earlier in
Yes,
the
yeah,
day,
yeah.
or,
Your day was off, or
yeah, my day's off, or, I'm not
yeah,
thinking clearly. And so I even have to clear myself
yeah.
before I even began crafting. So wood crafting is very, very big for me. And even when I share it with people, I like to share it with people who want to continue to do the same thing. They're about learning. They want to spread that same message and continue, with that. I'm actually I've been writing so much over the years from transferring woodworking with, being a capoeirista and then designing and stuff, that I'm actually working on a book right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, called Percussion and Capoeira According to Woodcrafting.
Oh, nice.
It's about all the designs and, things that I've done, whether it's been, support things that I've built for bid and bows, like stands.
Yeah.
I'm actually in my music room right now, and it's full of like stands and bid and bows and stuff that I've
Nice.
made. And I want to teach other people how to do that,
Yeah.
and, how and pass that legacy on, and it's
Yes.
not an expression. It's not a replacement.
Yeah.
I want to honor history, but I want to contribute and give back. So I'm actually working on, that project right now, just kind of trying to put all my notes in one space and,
Yeah.
share how I've made a lot of different jigs and how I even make certain instruments and, so forth, so that the next person can do the same.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Have you ever tried make beanie bags for kids or atabaques for kids?
I have not made an atabak yet. It is actually on the list.
Oh, cool.
But
It's tricky. It's very
I have
tricky.
I have made a lot of I've made a lot of alfayas because of
Okay.
maracatu. So
Yeah.
I do make a lot of drums as well. So I know about the
That's so
skin
cool.
and making
Yeah.
rims and stuff. The bid and bows, I have made more adult bid and bows. I'm actually in the middle of 2 outside bid and bows right now that I'm
Oh,
working on
nice.
for 2 people that have commissioned them. And I usually take a while to make them because I want them to not just turn out well, excuse me, but I try to really think about who I'm making it for,
Yeah.
and that their bid and bows look like them.
Oh, cool. I like that.
So even the bid and bows that I've made, I've been making it when I do that take a while, but by the time I finish, when someone sees a bid and bow that's mine, they're like, yeah, Sabonete made that bid and bow. I can tell,
Yeah.
that let me know that, I was in a good space.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
found my expression. I work with a lot of natural pigments and,
You
even
sign it too?
I do.
Yeah.
I use an
Nice. I like that.
engraver, and I've worked with different pigments and even engraving into the gourd
Yeah.
and using different pictures and actually engraving pictures into the gourds with different natural colors. And
So nice.
we work with epoxy a lot as well at the shop. So I've worked with epoxy for a while now, actually for about 8 months now.
Yeah.
So I've worked with epoxy in different ways by using it as an adhesive, using it to fix cabasas, usually using them to make them unique.
Yeah.
Same with, bid and bows doing the same thing, because epoxy has a lot of different properties. It can, when you adhere something together with epoxy, it's not going anywhere. So
that
it's really good.
seals the wood, right?
Yes. And it's really good for like if you crack your cabasa and maybe it's, in half or it's a piece. There's some that comes in little tubes that you can mix together. It's like a 5-minute epoxy.
Okay.
And it's the same epoxy that they use on like Forged in Fire when they're trying to quick attach like the handle to when they make knives and stuff.
Okay.
It's really good for reattaching like pieces back onto cabasas and putting them back together. So that's the 5-minute epoxy. And then you have, they call it flow coat epoxy. And it's usually good for when you're pouring over something.
Okay.
And you actually can thin it out with 91% alcohol.
Oh, cool.
And make it thinner, but have the same effect. And it's a sealer. So it's going to go wherever there's a crevice.
Yeah.
So you think about the sound and how sound comes out of the kabasa, you want it to be as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
So, that's why it's always, important, especially when you work standing the edge or, la boca, the mouth of the kabasa.
Yeah.
It's really nice and smooth. So when the sound comes out, it comes out really smooth.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, how when you're working with gourds, especially, they can be pretty pocketed or have little holes in them.
Yeah.
And if you actually coat the inside and the outside, it sandwiches the kabasa together. And what it will do is, if you actually listen to the sound, it comes out more crisp and more
cool.
Has a nice resonance to it. I've made kabasa. I was messing around with kabasas, and I actually made one for my phone to sit in. And it's actually
I saw that one.
Yeah. They're actually really good. It's actually a good way to even see how, if you're working on them, how it's going to sound.
Yeah.
Set your phone inside of the kabasa that you're working on and listen to it, how the sound is reverberating off the walls of the gourd. It actually will give you an idea of how the sound will come off if you play it attached to a berimbau.
That's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I never thought about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you use the phone to the sound. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, bamboo and gourds are very, very good sound conductors, and especially naturally. I don't know how many of those speaker things I have running around the house, and I get tired looking for them. So I was messing around in the shop, and decided to do that, and it works really, really well. With making birimbaus, a lot of the times what I'll do, sometimes I'll make the kabasa first, and I'll work on the birimbau. And one of the funny things Mr. Lulhashta told me one time when I went to go see him, we were talking about, woodworking and making different things, because he makes some amazing, amazing percussion instruments.
Yes.
And he works with a little card table and a little knife and a spoon. And I think that's it. And
to make for atabakis.
He makes atabakis too. He makes a lot of them. This is what he just for like a birimbau.
Okay.
And, I saw the little card table when I walked into his shop, and we were talking about the wood and everything. And he was like, the best way, because sometimes that it's heartbreaking when you have a birimbau that bursts, or breaks in half when you've been working on it. It just it hits you in your heart.
I've been there, and it feels like, no, what did
I do?
Yeah.
And so one of the things I did, even with my first one, is we talked about, he was like, well, if you treat natural mediums just like people, you'll never go wrong. And he was like, with your skin, it was like, you need moisture when it's dry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was like, well, wood is no different, So I actually, from woodworking again, passing
nice way to put it. Yeah.
Wood crafting, I thought about the moisture inside of wood, and I started studying wood bending, and I started studying just the pliability of wood and what happens to it over time, that it does start to dry out. And, using polyurethane and using, linseed oil and stuff, they're great.
Yeah.
But sometimes they sit on top and they don't always go inside. So I made like a wood butter. And what I do is whenever I cut wood and I'm going to make a birimbau, while it's also curing, I seal them on the ends.
Okay.
I also just it's almost like when my mom was little, she gave us Vaseline. She just put it on your face. I kind of do the same thing with them, and I put it on there, and I have a moisture meter that I actually use, and I study like the percentage between what the best percentage for wood to be at to stay pliable. And I usually keep it at that percent. I test it and literally write it down like every so often, and see
to keep it consistent.
To keep it consistent.
That's
and
so cool.
At the end, the middle, and the other end. And that's how I usually keep the pliability within my birimbaus. And as I'm working on it, I'm taking the bark off, whether it's, with a draw knife or whatever, but as I'm taking it off, I also still apply moisture back onto that bitten bow, and I'm
Wow.
constantly moving it.
Yeah.
And I've done that. I think personally, I've probably done, I don't know, 8 bitten bows in the last 6 months or so,
Wow, that's pretty cool.
and no
That's so
problems with
nice.
them bursting, or like I can't move it because
Yeah.
it's dried out. I mean, they have very nice pliability, and this is from wood that was cut, sometimes a year and 2 years ago. Um,
Wow, that's nice.
wood is just like us.
Yeah.
It needs moisture. If you think about after a rainstorm, or like I said, I love nature and just what it stands for in the arts. But if you think about a tree, um, when it rains and it's had nice moisture, especially softwoods, they bend over and they have the nicest arch, and they'll stay like that, but they
Huh.
don't break for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when it's really dry, it stands straight up. Now, if
Oh
you
wow,
have
I didn't know that.
if you have like, the best balance in between the moisture and the dryness, it'll sit like that, and it'll
Yeah.
sit like that. But once it dries out,
Goes
snaps.
back straight. Oh, that's crazy. I never noticed that.
Hmm.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep an eye on those stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of wood do you use for beating bows? Do you find that wood here in the US?
I do. Right now I've been working a lot with like ligustrum. I have some osage that
Okay.
here as well, that I'm actually getting ready to make another one with. So a lot of the times it's your local wood. Ligustrum here in San Antonio is pretty invasive, and so it's a lot of it available here, and
Nice.
it's usually in bunches. So I've worked with that a lot, but I am experimenting with different trees that I find, little seedlings, and I always give a little offering of cold water whenever I take a piece and everything.
Yeah.
So it's just a big thing,
Nice.
whenever I do crafting and stuff with bit and bows. And when they break, about the same thing. I actually we have a technique in wood crafting that we use called splinting. And what we do is you take dowels and whatever you cut, you put a dowel in between that cut piece from the top to the bottom. So it's in between. So I actually drill a hole in the middle of the bit and bow where it's split. So
Okay.
the dowel is here and at the top.
Okay.
And I fill it with epoxy inside the casting epoxy because it'll hold it there and it won't move.
Okay.
I do the same thing in the bottom and the top. And then I actually will slide it. And so it marries all together.
Nice.
And
Okay.
then I'll take, jute, or whether it's hemp, and I'll actually I'll wrap it. And then I will put the arami on it, but I don't tighten it as much, just enough to just put it on there. Because of the epoxy, it actually cures the best after about 30 days. So it's something that you
Oh
want
wow.
to do and then leave it alone.
Yeah.
It's dry to touch after about 48 to 72 hours. But then it really hasn't cured until much, much later, because it continues and continues to dry, because epoxy is like a hard plastic is what it is. It's
Okay.
really food safe as well. So
Oh cool. Okay.
people will cover, butcher blocks and cutting boards and stuff with it,
Okay.
and that's fine.
Okay.
The tumblers you see in the store, they're made of epoxy.
Huh.
People cast with them. So if you see like the clear jewelry and stuff, they're made from epoxy. So
That's so
there's
crazy.
different types of different epoxies and stuff. And so it's been working really, really good. So, I mean, always, like I said, my wheels are always turning, whether it's instruments or building things to hold instruments, or
Yeah.
even I'm working on an actual bit and bow work table where I can work on several bit and bows at the same time, and actually pull up another side to work on cabazas at the same time. And
Oh
it's
cool.
station. So I'm actually customizing that now. Some wheels are always turning,
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly studying and stuff.
That's really cool, because that way it will help you to keep everything on one spot, and
Yeah. And
everything
but
is easy to have a flow.
yeah, most definitely. And another thing that has been helping me a lot is there's a group here called the Texas Gourd Society, or
Okay.
the Gourders pretty much. They're older people, but some of them have been working with gourds for 30, 40, and sometimes 50
Oh,
years.
wow. Wow,
And
that's crazy.
I'm a member of the Texas Gourd Society. So I spend time with them, learning how they grow them, learning
Yeah,
how they craft with them. They do some amazing stuff with them.
that's so cool.
And how they clean them. They have books out there. And there's actually a gourd society, I want to say, in every state. So, if you're out there and
Oh,
you want to know where to buy them, or maybe, actually look up, different things on how to do with them. They are
yeah.
some great people to find some really good tips on how to, to do stuff with gourds. And they think it's amazing. The first time I actually played with Graduata Segonia with me, we went to the Gourd Festival here about
Yeah.
2 years ago and played the bidinbao, and they were just in amazement that something like this existed with a gourd attached to it, and it was an instrument.
That's so
Um,
funny.
and it was amazing, being able to do that. So, it's something that I would love to see is, gourd patches. If you can find, gourd patches in your state, they're a really great bunch of people to know for, even if it's just buying gourds, in that community, they're an older community,
Yeah,
those are,
yeah.
people who they've retired and moved on, and this is all they have. So I love anytime I can, support eguns, whether they're passed on or whether they're living. I
Yes.
do, because that's how we pass things down, and that's who we get our knowledge and everything from. So
Yeah.
that's very, very important to me. So I spend a lot of time with them, learning how to craft with different gourds and stuff. So
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Then, and how long do you have also the process of? I know when I learned how to make birimbas, you have to cut the wood and on a specific time. And
mhm.
do you also apply that here for cutting the wood?
I usually do. I usually, if it has rained a lot, sometimes I usually wait about 7 days, and again,
Okay.
read nature. I'll
Yeah.
go kind of take a walk, because there's a lot of parks and a lot of trails here in San
Okay.
Antonio. So it's nothing to go walking on a trail and see all the wood that you could possibly work with. And so a lot of times what I'll do is, if after a good rain is a good time to go and harvest wood.
Oh, cool.
Um, uh, Another good time is, you want to do it before it gets too cold, because cold affects wood, and what it does, it starts to shrink and it tightens up. And depending
Huh.
on where you live, it
Wow.
also can dry it out.
That makes a
So
lot of sense.
yeah, usually during the cold season, I don't cut wood. So probably I would say, but here between November and about the middle of February, I usually don't cut wood,
Huh.
because the properties have changed and it's a
Yeah.
constricted. It's also, it's not really dying off, but it's not really growing as much. And I want to, preserve that for nature
Yeah.
itself. But once it starts warming back up, I do go ahead and, I'll go out and I'll cut, and I usually will cut down. And once I cut down the wood that I want to, I usually will bring it home and I seal the ends with like a wood sealer.
Okay.
Usually, like any type of like beeswax, or even glue sometimes, and you can seal the ends. And I usually moisturize the whole thing on top of the bark, and I leave it. I see what the moisture level is,
Huh.
and I write that down on a
Yeah.
piece of tape. Sometimes I'll just tape underneath, or I'll write it on a tag, and I
Okay.
leave it for like 2 months, because it's green when you
That's
first cut it.
crazy. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then after about 2 months, I'll check it again. And I usually try to keep moisture between a certain level. And if it's where I need it to be, I'll check it for about a week and see if it stays at that point. And that's when, I'll start measuring for, how far, how long, how tall do I want it to be? I'm
Yeah.
shorter, I'm 5'4.5". So I mean, some of my bid and bows are a little bit shorter, and some.
Yeah.
It's like a balancing act sometimes, trying to make some of the tall ones.
Yeah.
But sometimes what I'll do is, again, depending on how tall it is, or if it's just like a generic set, I'll cut where I need, how tall I want it to be,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I still keep moisture on the ends, because it wood dries from the outside in. And you'll
Huh.
notice,
Okay.
if you pay attention, it's really good to keep it laying down on a surface rather than, right side up, because it's, drying off from the bottom and from the top. So, kind of like laying it,
Oh, so
on.
I'm gonna lay down my beanie balls out here. As soon as I close it, I'm gonna put them down.
So I usually don't lay it on like concrete, like I don't sit in on concrete and stuff like that.
That's
And then
crazy.
I start peeling the bark. And I usually, for me, I have like a saddle I sit on.
Okay.
And I actually use like a draw knife or whatever you have, that will help you get the bark off of the bimbao.
Okay.
Once that you remove the bark, I usually try to remove it down to the first time I see the white part, because there's different layers of that right up under the bark. You have, different parts. When you get kind of to like the core, you're getting to the softer part of the wood. And that's the kind of part you're also going to be bending. Okay. So you want to be really careful about how far you go down. Okay. So I'll remove it down to the first time I see it, then add moisture. And then I'll start, really kind of sanding it to try to get it to an even sheen. And if you can tell when it's starting to smooth, because it'll start looking shiny.
Oh, okay.
That's how you know that you've really gotten to a good shine. And feel it with your hands. I look with my hands, so I feel my hands a lot, and I can feel, and you'll feel the lumps. You can feel kind of where bark is left over, and just kind of.
You need to apply a little more work.
Yeah, most definitely. When it's smooth, then I do apply, and I leave it alone for a few days. I'm constantly applying moisture to it. And, and then after that, I'll decide from that point, am I going to use color? And, sometimes I like to try to stay to more natural colors. So I'll use, gray, and, colors. Yeah. And, the yellow colors, like the rust colors. I try to stay to kind of those colors.
Yeah.
I do have one bimbao called, that I call Gunsmoke. That
Gunsmoke is nice.
It literally, that's what it looks like. So
crazy.
It's this one.
Is that how it came out?
Yeah. So this one is actually like a dark brown, but this is like a smoky gray. And when I call this one Gunsmoke because that's the type of stain this is. And
that's so nice. I like
it really well.
It looks like you painted it.
And that's just so paint. Cool. Yeah. And I love trying to bring out the natural tones that are in wood.
Yeah.
Whenever I work with it. So a lot of the times if I do stain or do something, I'm really going to try to bring out that grain and stuff before I really apply it. So I really love to let nature shine on itself. I mean, wood can be very, very beautiful.
I love the wood color. That's why I was thinking on like painting or like putting like varnish on this sign in the back. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, I'm just gonna leave it like that. Just like the natural, the organic color.
Yeah. I have one called a tadu, which is knotted. And like running up the spine of the bimbao, it looks like a bunch of knots running up, but the kabasa is like a dark brown and maroon color.
Yeah.
But it's more of like a natural taint and tint to it. So I really try to, still honor that natural color to it. So it stands out, but at the same time, it's like, oh, okay, that's nice. That's different.
Yeah, for sure.
I really feel that.
Yeah. How long have you been working on bimbaos?
I have probably been working on bimbaos for about, I would say probably about 2 years.
Oh, cool. Okay.
In the beginning about like on, mostly like small woodworking and like other percussion instruments at first. And then I went into bimbao, like I said, Coquero worked with me a lot with understanding, a lot about how tall it is and, with the baqueta in reference to the, bimbao itself, like what it needed to, be and, some recommendations on colors and stuff. And I just kind of took it and kind of went from there. I mean, my wood instructor, he loves it. I come to him with a lot of, unique ideas if I have. And he's like, you must be doing it for that capoeira stuff. I'm like, yeah. So, they don't know what capoeira is, but they live vicariously through the crazy ideas I come to the wood shop with. So
nice. That's the best part, that they also enjoy all the crafting, even if you know something that they don't know. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, because it's different for them. And,
Yeah,
for them, it's just about, for me, they want me to be proactive and just
yeah,
really enjoy myself. And I do. And they understand why I do it. They're veterans as well. So,
nice.
it's veterans helping veterans. And I mean, they've really helped me to be, great people. And like I said, I get a lot of support from, Luanda and people
Yeah,
that I come across that really
so
helped
cool.
me
That's
stay
pretty cool.
encouraged. I mean, I really forget sometimes really that I'm a female wood crafter. It's
Yeah,
just, I just craft,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
something that I want to do for the community because people have been that open,
yeah,
you know.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And for people out there, how much you sell those beanie balls?
I usually, for me, because I include the baqueta, the kashishi, and the bidinbao as well. I usually do mine for about 115.
Okay, cool. Cool, nice, nice. So if you want beating balls, just make sure you hit her up and order your beating balls. Those beating balls looks nice. And you also and the sound too, because you have a beating ball. I remember I watched one of your videos playing the beating ball.
Yeah,
It sounds really nice.
thank you.
That's really, really nice. Yeah. Yeah, and any I I guess I can say transmutate the the energy that you put into the beating ball and the caring that the you actually care how the beating ball is gonna look like, how it's gonna sound like, and that pass along through the sound. Do you
Yeah.
have
Well,
do you have one there that you can play?
let's see. I think I have one that I probably can string up. I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah, for sure.
I think.
To before we close it.
Yeah.
So if you have the chance to go there, check her out and talk to her about your beating balls, how you like it, how you would like to see a beating ball, what kind of beating ball, Gunga Medi Viola, and she's going to take care of you and going to take care of your beating ball. I'm pretty sure you're gonna like them. That beating ball looks really nice.
Thank you. This is
Yeah,
one of my first bidinbaos.
nice. That looks nice. Hopefully the sound doesn't cut
I hope not.
through the Zoom. Nice. Oh man, that's so nice. That's really cool. You made the entire beating bar, right?
Yes.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So what I did,
Man, that cabasa. That looks so nice.
it's actually burned, and that's the inside of
Yeah.
the lasa. And then I burned it all the way. I do a lot of shosugi bomb because it actually preserves the wood.
Okay.
This bidinbao
Wow.
actually about, I think it might be about 2 years old, but this
Oh
was one of
wow.
my first ones.
That's so cool. That's so nice. That's so nice. And uh the people can contact you through social media to order beating balls or order any woodcraft.
I mean, anything that you can think of, like I said, bid and bows, og just contact me again at the Homemakers Crafts 15 on Instagram. I'm also at Miss Tiffany 38. And if you're in San Antonio, just give me a call or send me a message and, we'll work something out. Or if you just need help or tips on trying to figure, something out, I'm open that way as well. I'm someone who believes in, each one teach one. So
Nice.
there's a way that, I can help because you're trying to figure something out. I'm more than, willing to help. So
Yeah, 100%. And like she said, if you have any questions, you want to get a beating bow, you want tips how to make your beating bow or any help, go contact her or especially get her beating bows. if you're listening to a podcast, you're gonna listen to this berimbau. If you're going to watch the video, you're going to see it to see the berimbau. It is super super nice, and the sound is really really nice. So I really hope somebody can get to support there your work. It's really cool. So congrats on doing and doing those stuff.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. And before we close it, like I tell everybody here, single advice for the capoeira community.
Don't be afraid to step out and be different, even if
Nice.
like everyone else is. Like I said, you're not gonna hear in a class, hey, why don't you go out there and try, building some things or wood crafting or anything like that. Don't be afraid to stand out. Be yourself. Whatever ideas you have, the only bad idea is the one you don't try.
100%. I really, really like that one. I really, really like because I mean, if you never try and if you don't look for it, is how it works. If doesn't work, try a second time and see if it works. If not, go flip it around and see if it works different ways.
And don't be afraid to listen to constructive criticism and people who
Yes.
have the best intent in mind. Because not everybody does, but most people do. What makes you better, whether playing or building or whatever it is that you want to put your mind to. Don't be afraid to be receptive.
Yes, 100%, 100%. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being part of the community and building those amazing beating balls. I really like them. Again, if you get the chance to buy one, go there and buy one. Though you're not gonna regret it. You're gonna have really nice, beautiful sound beating balls there. So thank you so much for putting the work and putting the energy and the effort and crafting those beating balls. Great job on those stuff.
Thank you, Ashe. Thank you for having me. And
always.
You do. I listen to a lot of your other podcasts, and one of the things that I would like to say is thank you for who you are and what you do. And
thank you.
The biggest podcast that stood out to me among many was the one you talked about when you said that we should find out what we want from capoeira.
Welcome back.
I am so sorry about that.
Don't worries.
I'm back with that, but I was trying to say that one of the things that I appreciated from many of your podcasts, but particularly the one where you challenge us to think about what is it that we want from capoeira? What are we looking for? And I really took that to heart. You had me thinking about that all day. And
nice.
This is what I want to do. I want to contribute through woodcrafting. And so thank you for posing those thought-provoking, podcasts and really making us dig deep, on things maybe we didn't think about capoeira or just, those self-reflectives, that maybe we didn't think about in the beginning. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. And I do it because sometimes I get those thoughts, and one of the other reasons I created the podcast is because probably the same question I have, somebody's gonna have it out there, and somebody the best way to ask the question is to ask the question.
Absolutely.
So somebody's going to help me to figure out this why, and the why of and actually I was talking yesterday to some friends that the more I do the podcast and I feel deeper into capoeira, and I like it, and this helped me to keep the motivation talking to everybody in the capoeira community, and I really like it. And the motivation of others are my motivation, and it's a reciprocity relationship. I really like it.
Yeah, most definitely. I appreciate that. I mean, you even have me considering maybe doing a podcast on
for sure.
Finding other crafters, and hosting that, other people, because there are people who they have, clothing lines. There are people who make T-shirts. You have graphic artists. There are so many other creative artists out there who do things for capoeira, and I really want to highlight those people. So you have inspired me
awesome.
to actually, put that into fruition. So it's a project that, I'm definitely working on as well. So
that's so cool. Always. Yeah. And if you have any questions and podcasting stuff, just let me know. Always super happy to help you too.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you so much, and let's talk soon and talk to you later. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
day. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for getting this far. Remember, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up on Facebook or YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. This is going to help us and help me to get bigger numbers and bigger subscribers so we can give more information. Okay, please, if you're listening, I know you're listening, I know you're watching, please give me a subscribe, give me a like. Okay, I know you're watching right here or listening. All right, have an amazing day. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening every single episode, especially the episode we just did. All right, thank you so much. Peace.